Damn. Yeah.
Hello and welcome back for another episode of the Damn Podcast. I am your host, Angie Machado. Joined with me, as always, is Beaver Blitz beat writer, reporter extraordinaire Jake Hedberg, who just finished winter term 2024 final. You done? All done?
Yep, all done.
Awesome.
Very excited. Finally done with the worst term, and spring term's on the way. So pretty excited about that.
Okay, 4 terms left, Jake.
I know, that's scary.
That is nuts. That is so crazy. I'm going to try to keep you on board even longer because, what if the Beavs start doing really well or something? But anyway, we have not, I went back to do our rundown, and it's been over a month since we were last on the pod. So a ton to talk about. We have a busy show. We're going to talk some football. Oregon State has wrapped up their first 6 of 15 spring practices under new coaching staff, Trent Bray and his new crew. We're going to talk some men's and women's basketball, and then also go in and talk baseball, which 18-2, off to a blazing start, 39 home runs. I just figured out that's 1.95 a game. They're on track in the 35 remaining games to be at 107 if they keep up that pace. I don't know, Jake. I might be owing you a steak dinner here if they hit that 100. How are you, though, now that finals are done and you've had a chance to 30 minutes to take a breath?
Yeah, a lot of stress coming off the shoulders, very excited to be done, have a week and a half off, watch a lot of basketball. Yeah, very excited.
Yeah, it's been not only a busy term for you, I know, but spring is one of this time of year is one of the busiest times.
Yeah, it's
for
sneaky
writers
busy.
at Blitz. Yeah, sneaky busy because you have recruiting kind of there in February, and then you have baseball starting up, and you have men's and women's basketball, and then some spring football thrown in. So it is I always say it's one of the busiest times of year. It would be a lot busier if men's basketball was a little more competitive, but it is. It's a busy time. Yeah. Now we can I say relax, but we go into spring football in April. We go into full on baseball mode, and we go into recruiting. So, which I know is one of your favorite things to do. So, great job though. As always, you've done an amazing job with the busy season.
Thank you.
Let's talk football, because that is, I think, on the forefront. If you guys have questions too, if you're watching us live, make sure to put comments in the comment section. We do have some questions over from Beaver Blitz from earlier today that I will get to. But yeah, if you have any questions, just throw them in the comments, and we'll try to squeeze them in as we can. First thoughts on the first 6 practices that you've seen. What is your 10,000 foot overview of what you've seen through 6 practices?
I've been very impressed with Oregon State's defense. Granted, it's only been 6 practices, and through the 6 practices, you're expecting the defense to be better than the offense, especially considering the offense is installing a brand new system, whereas the defense will looks to be relatively the same as in 2023. But this defense doesn't look like it's fallen off at all, which I think speaks to the job that Trent Bray has done coaching, Keith Hayward's done coaching, Eliza Tuiaki's done coaching, and the jobs that they've done at finding talent.
Because there were a lot of losses this offseason.
A ton of losses, and we've already seen newer faces come in and make impacts. Kobe Singleton's already got a handful of picks. The defensive line is full of transfers between Taiji Hill, Nick Norris, Tavita Poamea, a bunch of guys, and then the linebackers as well. DJ Westlock, Aiden Sullivan, another transfer that's impressed. So very impressed with the coaching staff's ability to evaluate and bring in high-level talent.
Yeah, it is a new look roster as well. We're going to start with the offense, and I agree. I think that the defense is obviously, leaps and bounds ahead of the offense. Mm-hmm. And for fans out there, I don't think that is something that you should be upset about, because I actually foresee that the defense will be ahead in all of our practice reports right into August. Mm-hmm. And that's maybe where you want them to be completely honest. And you want that defense to be ready to go. But we're going to talk a little offense first. Some injuries here. Coach Bray did finally come public with the fact that Jimmy Valson, who was expected to be one of the wide receivers that we expected to maybe take the next big step, is out for a while with an injury. But let's start with quarterbacks. Ben Gulbranson, 1 year day a couple days ago, but getting some competition from Giovanni McCoy, transfer from Idaho, and Jabari Johnson, the transfer. Before anybody asked, he has not been participating. He's been in a boot. That boot is gone as of last Saturday. So, and Coach Bray did say that he expected him, as soon as he's cleared. So right now it's a McCoy, Ben Gulbranson. What are your thoughts on those two guys?
I mean, it's been pretty neck and neck so far. Giovanni McCoy and Gulbranson, the first week, they didn't really push the ball downfield, which I think was a part of Ryan Gunderson's game plan. Acclimate the quicker check down passes and try and ease these quarterbacks into the offense. And then week 2, we started to see them push the ball downfield more, and there were mixed results. Gulbranson had a very good Tuesday, pushed the ball down the field well, where McCoy struggled through an interception or two. Also struggled with balls being batted down at the line of scrimmage. However, on Thursday, the roles switched. Giovanni McCoy was excellent. He hit 2 45, 50-yard bombs to Zachary Card, whereas Ben Gulbranson had a little bit of a rougher day. And then again on Saturday, I thought they were both relatively even. I think McCoy had an interception and led a touchdown drive, whereas Gulbranson didn't lead either. But, at this point, I think a balanced quarterback competition was to be expected. I think the coaching staff's plan coming in was Giovanni McCoy as the starter, with Jabari Johnson being groomed as the quarterback for the future. But Gulbranson's is putting up quite a fight, and I think at this point it's an even battle.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a whole new system. So these guys are all trying to learn new terminology, new plays. It's entirely new system. So it's going to be different. Along those lines, running backs. Now that could be one of the deeper rooms. We can talk a little bit about Hankerson, the new transfer, which you told me a couple times, and I completely agree. Body type reminds me a lot of Jaquiz Rogers.
Yeah,
he's just that kind of guy. But what I'm seeing, I went to 3 practices of the 6. One of the things that stood out to me is just how much they're working on these guys as receivers, and that's something we haven't seen. These guys have gone in and started working with the quarterbacks to become more receivers out of the backfield. But talk to me about what you've seen from this running back room.
Yeah, I mean, again, the pass catching, that's been something Oregon State has really lacked since Trey Lowe's departure just before the 2022 season. And now it seems to be really getting installed back into the offense. I think Damian Martinez is the best player on the Oregon State offense. That's not a question. And I think Ryan Gunderson is finding as many ways as possible to get the ball into Damian's hands, whether that's the run game or the pass game now, which he has struggled. I mean, he's dropped a few passes, and he spent a lot of time this offseason focusing on catching passes, and it's paying off. I don't think he's dropped a pass yet. And behind Martinez, this group is deep. Jam Griffin's back. We all know what Jam can do. Isaiah Newell's back. We know what Isaiah Newell can do. And then Anthony Hankerson has seen a decent amount of carries. Like you said, he physically is a Jaquiz Rogers clone. I mean, he's short, he's jacked. He even moves a little like him. Not to say
just that lower body. I mean, his lower body is just stout.
He's huge. He's very large. Obviously, not saying he's going to be as good as Jaquiz Rogers because it's very
Those
rare.
Are big
Those
shoes
are very big shoes.
But body type wise, yeah.
Physically, and the way he, watching him run the ball, the way he carries the ball, it looks like Jaquiz Rogers. He kind of hides. He kind of hides behind his blockers a little bit, and and uses that height to an advantage. In a different way, I guess, than what you would say for a taller, maybe a tall wide receiver. He's using his stature to his advantage. Yeah. And then Jake Reichel as well. I mean, he's up 21 pounds. which is a crazy jump. Wouldn't be shocked to see him play some fullback. I mean, this kid loves to go and make contact, so would not be surprised at all to see.
And he's got the mullet flowing.
Yes, he does.
Wide receivers. I think if there was one area that maybe I had a concern on the offense, it's receivers. I love what Zach Card brings. I think he's that small, shifty wide receiver. But give me your thoughts on the wide receiver group.
Yeah, I mean, drops has been a problem. Not necessarily from the first group of Trent Walker, David Wells, and Jeremiah Noga, but the second and third group has really struggled. Granted, a lot of these guys are redshirt freshmen and freshmen, some of whom didn't practice last year for a number of reasons. So they're still adjusting to the Division I game. You know, the speed of the balls that Ben Gulbranson throws, Giovanni McCoy throws, Dom Montiel throws. But it is an area for early concern, especially with Jimmy Halson's not expecting to see him. That's a big blow. I wouldn't be shocked to see Oregon State go after another receiver in the transfer portal. Still yet to see Darius Clemens, but expecting to see him soon.
Yeah, so him and Jabari Johnson were the two that Coach Bray did say on Saturday he didn't expect them to be long-term.
Yep, expecting to see them soon. Hopefully we get to see them before spring ball ends. But a guy that's two guys that have really impressed me has been Trent Walker and David Wells. Trent Walker's caught every ball that's gone his way. Deep balls, just everything. And then David Wells, a name that some Oregon State fans might not know. He's a redshirt freshman, played in 2 games last year. He's been working with the first team exclusively, and he's a guy that Coach Fentz loves. He's 6'1", $175, long, lanky. He's really stood out and impressed, and I think he's going to see playing time this season.
Yeah, that's again, he's fast too. Anderson had a pretty big catch too on Saturday.
Yeah, Jordan Anderson has been impressive. It looks like Oregon State's working Anderson out of the slot, and that could be a spot where you could see him get some instant playing time.
Yeah, I am anxious though to see Clemens come in. Super bummed for Jimmy Valson, but he'll hopefully come back bigger, stronger, faster, ready to go once he recovers from injury. Speaking of injury, offensive line has had its share.
Yeah.
Joshua Gray has been out as he recovers. He's out of his boot though and walking well. He looks pretty solid, and kind of it's been a good opportunity I think for him just because he's been in the system so long. He's using this opportunity to be almost a coach and learn the playbook that way. But then Tyler Moreno went down last week. He will be out for the foreseeable future. And there's been a few others dinged up. How have you liked this O-line group and their progress through six practices?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a ton of rotation. Through every practice, there's only been one constant, and that's Van Wells at center and Grant Stark somewhere in the first team, whether it's at left tackle, left guard, or right tackle. He's kind of going all over the place.
Which is great.
Yes.
Which is great that Grant Stark is there and can play those positions. I also could see, Joshua Gray being able to, yes, the idea is for him to move inside, but if, need be. But you're right. Van Wells has basically been exclusive center.
Yeah. And I think the Grant Stark chess piece going from guard to tackle to the opposite tackle to the opposite guard. It's not just a Stark thing. There's been a number of guys. Nathan Elu's been working with the first team at tackle, second team at guard, and then some days the first team at guard, second team at tackle, just bouncing back and forth. A handful of guys are mixing and matching, and I think what Kyle DeVan's trying to do right now is find his best 5 guys that can play his best 5. I think he's found 1 in Van Wells and 2 in Stark and 3 in Gray, and there's 2 spots, and he's just mixing and matching, trying to find the combination to get the best 5 on the field. The tackles have struggled at times. We'll talk about the Oregon State pass rushers later, but they've had a very impressive start to camp. I wouldn't be shocked to see Oregon State go after another portal offensive tackle as well now, especially with Tyler Morano down for what could be a while. Jacob Strand's a younger guy that's impressed, along with Nathan Elu. Tyler Holton, he's seen a lot of reps with the first team and been really impressed. He carries his 370 pounds well. It's a lot of weight, but he's a lot more mobile than a lot of people would expect of a man that large.
Dylan Lopez is still in the mix. Luka Vincic is out for a while with injury as well, but Dylan Lopez has also been in the mix there as well.
Yeah.
Another group we haven't seen a ton of in practice, and again, some injury there is tight end.
Yeah,
it's been such a huge part of Oregon State's offense, since Coach Riley and then through the Smith era. What can you tell me about tight end?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of the same guys. Oregon State's tight ends group is beat up. No Cooper Jensen right now, no Gabe Hilborn. So it's really just Jermaine Terry, Bryce Caulfield, and Carter Newman. Terry's he's had a drop or two, but he looks to be improved blocking. Bryce Caulfield at the moment seems to be Oregon State's best pass catching tight end. He's a junior from Lake Ridge in Lake Oswego, and then Carter Newman. He's seen some reps at fullback, and he's improving his pass catching skills as well. He struggled at that a little bit, but his hands have been solid. I don't think he's dropped a pass yet. And this is yet another spot I wouldn't be surprised to see Oregon State potentially look somewhere. They had Jackson Warren, a 2024 JUCO tight end, on campus this last weekend for an official visit, because this spot needs depth bad.
Yeah. So, and for everybody watching that maybe doesn't keep as close an eye on recruiting, Oregon State is full right now, but after spring, typically 5 over. So we will see attrition, and we always see attrition, but we will see at least 5 and potentially a few more if Oregon State decides they need to hit the portal and get some guys to kind of fill some spots there. Defense. Okay. I'll go to that later, personnel. But okay, let's just jump over to defense then. You've talked a lot about the defensive line, and you've talked about rotation heavily on the offensive line. Defensive line might even be more rotation heavy.
Mm-hmm. We've seen 7 players, I believe, take reps with the first team at the 2 defensive tackle spots. And most of the time, it's this, like on Saturday scrimmage, for example, with the first team, there was a different combination of 2 every time.
Yeah.
And I think Eliza Tuwaki is still trying to figure out the group, which, I mean, we are too, because there's not a lot of experience, at least at Oregon State. There's a bunch of transfers. Guys like Samisi Saluni and Quincy Wright are back, but then they bring in transfers like Norris, Poamea, Taiji Hill, and Coach Tuiaki is doing his mixing and matching, trying to find his 4 to 6 guys that will play throughout the course of a game. Defensive tackle is a spot where you're going to see a bunch of rotation, and right now, Coach Tuiaki's trying to find the separation between guys that can take the very next step and get and be on the field more consistently.
Yeah, Cameron Lyle in the chat just said you can never have too much depth at D-line, and that is so true. It's I mean, you're and I think that's one area Oregon State has struggled with over the years is and we've harped about it on Blitz in the Lodge about D-tackle. But I think it goes both ways here. Joe Swaim, what is Bray's basic scheme going to be? 4-3, 3-4, 4-2-5. I see more of a nickel. I think we go nickel heavy a lot, depending on the opposition.
Yeah, I think it'll be a 2-4-5 or 4-2-5, depending on the way you characterize those outside backers.
Because all of a sudden now it's gone from defensive end. You had out now there's a very blurry line between an outside linebacker and a defensive end. So
like Takari Hickles listed as a defensive lineman. he's a D-end, rush edge kind of guy. Same with, I think Kelsey Howard as well is on that plan too. So
Kelsey's still injured. He's been posting his recovery.
Yeah.
But yeah, people have asked about him. It's not some bust or he didn't leave the program. He's still recovering. I believe it was ankle or foot surgery that he had this offseason. Speaking then, let's just move right into linebackers.
Mhm.
What have your thoughts been on that group?
I think if it wasn't for the secondary, this group would be the strength of this Oregon State defense. The outside backers, rush ends have been phenomenal. Takari Hickles in the backfield every
As
other
Jake
play.
calls my guy.
Yeah, I love Takari Hickles. He's going to be a great player. I'm really excited to see him kind of break out and take that next step. A guy that's really impressed me has been Nico Taylor.
Mhm.
He saw a lot of special teams time last year, but was stuck behind the Andrew Chatfield, John McCartan, the Stover trio. But he's really impressed. He put on 6-7 pounds of muscle, and he's always in the backfield as well. Oluwa Matoshu showing some pass rush skill. Matthias Malachi Donaldson looks to finally be healthy. He's getting some run with the second team. DJ Westlock's been getting some burn with the first team occasionally, but overall, the outside backers look to be a very deep group where you could see 4 to 5 guys play throughout a game. And then pivoting over to the inside linebackers, Oregon State I think Isaiah Chisholm is going to be a star.
Yeah.
He is a player who
he's huge. He ran by
he's
us
a
day
talented-
one.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a 19, 20-year-old. That's a grown man. He is very physically impressive. He showed the ability to get in the backfield as a linebacker against Notre Dame. Coverage still concerns there. Haven't really seen a lot yet in camp. And then Helvin Jordan, again, is a guy who really broke out towards the end of 2023. And I think he could take another huge step forward in 2024. And these two look to be up next in what has been a long line of successful Trent Bray linebackers.
Yeah. So talk to me about that because I know Beaver Nation was really bummed out when Easton Mascarenas decided to transfer to USC.
Mm-hmm.
How much better can, whether it's Isaiah Chisholm or Melvin Jordan, how do you think they can be better than?
I think
than
Isaiah
Easton?
Chisholm. I think Chisholm has the potential to be the best inside linebacker that Trent Bray's coached at Oregon State. I think the level he played at in the bowl game as a true freshman. Now he has a full off season in a Division I weight room, which we've seen already. He's put on 5 pounds of muscle, looks even bigger, and now he has a full summer to, step up as a leader, and then really just learn from Trent Bray. And we had the chance to talk to Isaiah Chisholm, and he's still talking to Omar Spates, Kyrie Fisher, Avery Roberts, Easton, picking her brain, and to me, that's a sign of a great football player.
Yeah, because he's willing to learn and willing to. Now, with all the offseason, Oregon State's losing Katana Ladapo. They lost Jermod McCoy, who had a huge freshman season last year. Secondary looked, if you would have asked me in December about the secondary, I might have been a little concerned. Now, after 6 practices, would you say this is the strength of the defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think the cornerbacks, the 3 that they've got right now between Jaden Robinson, Kobe Singleton, and then Andre Jordan, who's had a fantastic camp, and he's been running with the first team the entire time. It hasn't been Kobe Singleton, it's been Andre Jordan. Very very happy about that. I feel like this group is deeper than it was last year. I mean, the second spot last year across from Jaden Robinson was a revolving door. I mean, Ryan Cooper started there, Jermod McCoy started there, Tyrese Ivey started there, and now I think it's a lot stronger.
Yeah.
And a true freshman, Exodus Ayers, he's running with the second team already. There's another one that could potentially step up and play. The safeties, not to the level of Oladapo and Arnold yet, but I've been encouraged. Skylar Thomas is back. He's went live with the second team for the first time on Thursday, I believe. And then Harlem Howard, very impressed. Redshirt freshman, played in 2 games a season ago. He's gotten a chance and he's taken it. Jack Conne's back as well, experienced player. And then 2 JUCO transfers have impressed, Amarian York and Jaheim Patterson. I think this is a deep group.
Jaheim's a big safety too.
Yeah, 6'4". I mean,
Yeah.
he looks like Nashawn Wright playing safety.
Yeah.
You don't see that a lot. I think no one's really earned a starting spot yet. I think it could be any one of those 5, but I think Oregon State's in good hands at those spot. And the guy
Who do
that's
you see at
also
nickel?
right there, Cy
Okay.
Pedrali. He's very impressed. He has been very impressive so far, Cal transfer. He's a guy that Keith Hayward loves. He's competing with Noble Thomas, who's very solid, can also play safety and corner. I think Oregon State's going to be very, very solid at that spot for sure.
Okay, tell me this. What's the deepest position then on the roster or on the team? Running backs or DBs?
For me, it's still got to be the running backs. I mean,
Okay.
having a player of Damian Martinez's caliber and having 3 backups, four counting Jake Reichel, that can really step up and carry the load without too huge of a fall off is very crucial. And I think the running backs are going to be what Oregon State runs their offense through.
Okay, so we have a question here, and it actually is perfect timing. Eric F., because I wanted to move into what you've liked about spring camp under Coach Bray. Eric says, has Bray's coaching changed, or is he still bringing energy, and is he coaching both sides?
No, he is still very outgoing, very enthusiastic. He's the loudest coach probably. He's definitely the most energetic. I mean, he's all over the place. Who was it? DJ Westlock, I think it was, posted a picture on Twitter of Westlock chasing down Giovanni McCoy, and in the background, Trent Bray's running down the sideline. You can just tell he's just all over the place, very enthusiastic, and it's not just defensively; it's the offense as well. I think he spent more time watching the quarterbacks than the defense.
So like warm-ups are interesting because it's still kind of like we've seen from him in the past where he's, they're stretching and he's going around talking to all the guys up and down the rows. But you're right. I think the biggest change I've seen is the fact that now he stands kind of behind the action, behind the quarterbacks when they're going live. And I think that was an adjustment for him, especially the first couple of days. And he even admitted as much that first day we talked to him is a little different than not being, on the sideline or, but he's right there. The defense is, especially the defense, I would say is playing with a lot of energy, a lot of emotion. Saturday scrimmage was full of emotion.
Yeah.
6 practices in though. What are your concerns?
My biggest concerns right now, they're all offensively. I think receivers catching the ball, and then depth at tight end and offensive line, and at receiver as well. I think Oregon State needs to add another receiver and an offensive tackle and a tight end, and then the receivers, particularly the younger guys, the second team, the third team, they need to catch the ball. They need to catch the ball better because right now they're one play away from having to go in against a Cal, a Purdue, an Oregon, Washington State, and if they can't catch the ball, it turns Oregon State into a one-dimensional team, and that's killed them in the past.
Yeah, we can't see Oregon State go one-dimensional. Joe Swaim asked, will Jam Griffin get 1,000 yards this year?
I don't think so, just due to the sheer depth. I mean, I think Damian will get the lion's share of the carries, and then Jam and Hankerson and Newell will kind of split the last third to fourth of the carries. And then receiving the ball, I think Hankerson's probably going to be the best pass catching option out of those 4. So I think Jam will have a good year. I think he should hit 500, but I don't see 1,000 yards from any of the backs besides Damian.
Okay, besides Damian, 6 practices. Offensively, who's your one player? Like I said, outside of Damian Martinez,
Besides Dame?
that's just really caught your eye.
I mean, going to the receiver room, I think Trent Walker and David Wells have both stood out. They're guys who weren't necessarily expecting to get as much work as they were with Clemens and Howson, but with them down, they're getting their chance and they're stepping up, and they're really doing a fantastic job. Another one is Van Wells. I think I mean, people see the Colorado offensive line from last year, and deservedly, they think, oh, well, he might not be that good. Van Wells is very good. His pass blocking grade was 10% higher than Jake Levengood's was last year, and I don't think you're going to see any fall off at the center position. I think you might even see an improvement.
Yeah. Okay. Defensively, who are you?
Nico Taylor,
Okay.
Takari Hickle, Thomas Collins, those younger defensive linemen, they've been playing really well, which has been really promising to see because there was concerns. The outside linebacker room lost their top 3 guys. Really, their top 4. The defensive line also lost their top 4 as well. So seeing these younger guys emerge and really bully their way into the backfield every play it's pretty promising, and hopefully they could continue to develop over the summer, carry that over into fall camp, and then break out in 2024.
We have one more question here. Eric asked in the chat, what's keeping Zach Card from breaking into a starting spot?
I don't think Card is as well-rounded as a receiver as a David Wells or a Trent Walker. In terms of pure deep threat, Zach Card is the best option on the team. However, his route running still needs a little polishing, which is where Trent Walker and David Wells also shine. They're both very good route runners. And then the other thing is just highs. I mean, Walker, Wells, Clemens, Valson, Jeremiah Noga, they're all 6'2" or 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", whereas Card's 5'9". So that may be holding him back a little bit. I'm expecting to see Zach Card play a lot. I think Oregon State is going to look to get the ball in his hands in space, whether that's on deeper routes or fly sweeps.
Yeah, I think where Oregon State has been the past 4 years has been kind of all in on the 5'9" receivers.
Yeah. I think if Jonathan Smith and Brian Lindgren were still here, Card would be starting. But just due to this difference in scheme, and remember, Card's only going to be a redshirt freshman. He still has 4 years. He could well break into it. I think he will be an Oregon State starter at some point. I just think what we've seen, Oregon State, for what fits their offense, there's better options at the moment. And Card will still see time.
Yeah, he'll be a role player.
We'll get him the ball.
And then go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, Joe Swaim just wanted a Micaiah Tongue update. Micaiah is out
for the season.
Yeah. That happened, game 2, his injury?
Game 3.
It was severe in game 3. It's severe enough. It's a full year, if not a little longer. So he is out for the foreseeable future on that one. Okay, I was going to wait to take a break, but gosh, we just spent a half an hour talking football. So that's actually awesome. We're going to take a quick break just for the podcast side of things. But if you're not a member of Beaver Blitz, it is the place for great discussion, game threads, and all the latest from the recruiting trail camp. You know what, Jake? You are doing a fantastic job. I have not read practice reports that are as detailed and as accurate. I have been reading every practice report that is coming out from everywhere, and it's interesting to see mistakes and to see Jake's is right on the money. So, Jake, thank you for the accuracy. Thank you for the analysis. But Beaver Blitz is your place. And also, I just want to, we've been really working on trying to grow our YouTube channel. It's Beaver Blitz Video on YouTube. Make sure to join, because not only is the damn podcast there, you can watch it live if you don't like podcasts. Jake and I have been trying to we have some things up our sleeve of doing some shorter little analytical pieces that we might try to roll out here this summer. So, and some fun type content as well. So make sure you're following. What is it? The smash the subscribe button and the follow button, or I'm not a YouTuber, but make sure to check out Beaver Blitz video and give us a follow on that so you don't miss any of the content. And we'll be back in just a few minutes to dive into basketball. Okay, welcome back to the damn podcast. Okay, Jake, we just had a lot of fun talking football. We're going to get this out of the way. It's kind of like taking bad medicine, I think. You know, you just like do it, taking a shot. We're taking a shot right now because, I don't know, a shot of, I don't like shots in general. I was going to say a shot of Fireball, but I don't like shots anyway. So anyway, we are taking a shot to get this out of the way. Men's hoops. I honestly don't know what there is to say. We're going to give a recap. So first of all, there was a thing on the a little graphic last night on basketball that said Oregon State was one of the teams that turned down an NIT bid. What the hell? I mean, why did they even get I think that had to be a mistake.
Well, I didn't read it, but I saw Nick Daschle had an article today on The Oregonian talking about it. So that may have an explanation. I don't know. But I was surprised. I was scrolling on Twitter last night and I saw that and I was like,
yeah, it was in the lodge and we were all, Jake and I were texting back and forth as we were watching the baseball game. Like, I don't think so. Okay. So put on your preseason hat, Jake. Did they meet your preseason expectations? Did this team? Okay.
No. I mean, Wayne Tinkle outright said this team will not be last in the Pac-12, and they were last by 2 games. I think what this team lacked was really Division I caliber, or let me phrase that, Pac-12 caliber depth. I mean, Jordan Pope, Tyler Bildo, and Michael Hutai, those 3 are solid. I like what JoJo Lake brought off the bench. I like what Justin Rossland brought off the bench. You know, they fit the role players, not necessarily starting type players, but they're good quality bench players. JoJo Lake especially
for a walk-on. I mean, I thought he was
Oregon State's best player off the bench this year.
Yeah.
The center spot is a spot that Oregon State needs to upgrade. Casey Abekwe, the talent is there, the tools are there. He physically is not ready. He's still very, very raw. Still needs some more development. But at the moment, if Oregon State wants to compete for an NCAA tournament, they need better players around Pope, Bilodeau, and Ratai. I think they've lacked a really consistent shooting option ever since outside of Pope, ever since Jared Lucas left. I think if this team had a Jared Lucas and a Kyler Kelly, then it could be a tournament type team just based off the talent of Pope, Bilodeau, Ratai, and those 3 are going to be core to keep.
How do they keep them? I mean, okay, so that's
the question.
I guess that's the big question: is how do you keep those guys?
To be seen. I think. I mean, they need talent around them because otherwise, this team, even in the West Coast Conference, you know, Gonzaga is a tournament team, St. Mary's is a consistent tournament team, Washington State's emerged into a team that could go deep in March. Oregon State's not on the same level as those 3 teams, which is disappointing. I mean, the West Coast Conference it's a conference that Oregon State can compete in, but at the moment, I mean, it's just a lack of Division I caliber depth or Pac-12 caliber, higher level Division I caliber depth has killed this team. And
what I find is the hardest part, and don't get me wrong, I love the coaching staff. I think Wayne Tinkle's a great person. I think the coaching staff, they're nice guys. The problem that I'm finding now, and this is a tough. I mean, Jake, when we do game threads and nobody's going to them, nobody's like watching the games.
I mean, as a student, me and my friends went to 1 Pac-12 game this year, and
you're diehard.
And I went to like where to cover them, but like my friends and I, as students, only went to one game, and it was the Arizona game, which was a top 10 team. I mean, it just kind of speaks out to the level it's stooped to. Like, I remember as a kid, the student sections were always packed, and then this past year, the non-conference games, you could count in the student section. You could count how many people there
Well,
were.
and
That was
then
really,
taking it a step further, then from my old person vibe,
Mhm.
where I see the problem. So I mean, I've covered now Oregon State for 18 years, but I've been a part of the program for 20 or around Oregon State athletics for 24, and then I was a student before that. When the fans on Beaver Blitz, these are your most
Die hard.
diehard. They're your donors. They're the ones that are driving from Portland down to games. They are the most passionate fans you have. And when they don't care and they lose interest,
It speaks to the level
it's
of
bad. It
that.
is really
Yeah.
bad. I mean, students can be fickle. But when your big time boosters and your biggest supporters have lost interest and checked out, it got to a point there in March that I told Jake, if you don't have time, do women's basketball and don't worry about men's basketball. That's so, when we're evaluating resources and where we're going to spend our time on Beaver Blitz, we're going to what people want to read and what
I
people are
mean,
going to
yeah,
engage in. And so Jake was able to handle both, but that it speaks volumes. So I'm hoping they can get things figured out. I hope that they don't lose too much of this roster, especially that core three, because it could be. Because I do think Tinkle's trying to build around those guys, and
the
he
core
needs some
three and
continuity.
Josiah Lake, I
And
think,
Josiah Lake,
because I mean, Lake's a champion player. I mean,
Yeah.
he won 2 in high school. I mean, he just plays the
see
game.
Tualatin, right?
Yeah, to Walton.
Yeah.
I mean, he really just plays the game like the right way. And always very efficient. He's a great passer, great defensively. I think he's Oregon State's best defensive guard. And
Lots of energy too. Plays
yes,
with a lot of
lots
energy.
of energy. I think besides Lake and those core three, those 4 are quintessential to keep. Outside of that,
I
who
mean,
knows?
okay, so switching to maybe a more positive, that actually we dedicate it more to men's hoops than I thought we would. But now let's talk about something a little more positive, and that's the women's hoops team. Because after missing the tournament last year,
And the year before that.
and the year before, and
Yeah.
not really even being expected to be
No.
a contender this year, they came alive in February and March. And
Mhm.
so I am not a huge women's basketball fan. I will flat out admit it's not something that's usually on my radar. I always want to see the Beavers do well, but it's nothing. I watched that UCLA game.
That was electric.
That was
a fun one.
amazing. I mean,
That
just
shot
amazing.
confirmed Talia, and that was, if my memory's correct, that was the week after the Jordan Pope shot.
Yes.
So
That was
kind of
a really fun couple days, I think,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Like, yeah.
it was
all at
it was like a
Gill.
10-day stretch. Yeah.
Yeah. But this team is electric.
Mhm.
Fun
Oh,
to
no.
watch.
They're fun to watch.
They are fun to watch. So how far can this team go in the postseason?
They got a really tough draw.
Yeah.
South Carolina was one of the teams that South Carolina's probably the favorite to win a national title. That's a very good team. If Oregon State can get past them, they can get past anybody. But that is going to be a tall task. I think that matchup would be in the Elite Eight. And what really hurts Oregon State was not getting into the Portland side of the bracket.
Yeah.
If they would have played that game at home, I like their chances a lot better. I think they have a very good chance. But playing in New York, across the country, it's going to be a lot tougher. Now, I think they can do it.
How far will they go?
I think they lose to Carolina in the Elite Eight. I think it's going to be a tough loss. It's going to be a close game, but I just do not see.
So you think they make it?
I would love to see them win.
Eight.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think if you ask any Oregon State fan at the start of this year, are you happy with Oregon State going to the Elite Eight?
They'd be ecstatic. Absolutely.
And again, I think this team could be special in 2024, 25.
Okay.
They have no seniors.
Yeah.
And I think you may see a player or two hit the portal, but I don't think it'll be a Reagan Beers Tamia Gardner, Talia, Talia. I think they're gonna make, and I think with that scholarship or two, they could potentially make a big acquisition.
So do you think, okay, let's just play kind of bracketology here. This team, let's say they go Sweet 16, Elite 8.
Mhm.
Do you think that's enough of a taste for those top players to stick around one more
Oh
year?
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect those players to leave it anyway. I don't think there's an athlete at Oregon State that bleeds more orange and black than Talia. She's very, very pro Oregon State. To me and Reagan, I think they're already most likely being taken care of pretty well financially, and I would imagine that's only going to continue. And this team is loading up to be special next year, and I don't think they're going to want to. They're going to want to, skip town and miss out on a chance to compete for a national title.
Okay. So I just got an alert that somehow my charger that normally is charging is not charging. So hopefully it holds on for 14 minutes because I don't want to cut women's basketball short, but we probably should move on to baseball because that's another huge story for Oregon State right now. Ranked number 2 in the country behind Arkansas, 18-2 with those 2 losses, one coming to Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a 1-point loss. That the one on Sunday to Utah was
a funky game to watch.
That was a weird game. I mean, you lose a 9-point lead, 10-point lead, 9 run. Okay, so this team, when we talked a month and a half ago, there were huge expectations. Mm-hmm. What areas have they met those expectations in your mind?
The offense. This offense is just mashing the baseball right now. I mean, if you look at their consistent starting 9, Elijah Hainline has the lowest average, and he's still 254 with 4 homers, 15 RBIs. I think he has 9 extra base hits, and he's considered their worst batter statistically right now out of their starters. And
there's not a guy 1 through 9.
No,
you don't have a weak link here.
You can't pitch around any of these guys.
No.
I mean, if you want to pitch around Bazana, you have McDowell behind him. If you want to pitch around him, you have Guerra behind him. And then the thing is Casper's out, Trent Caraway's out, and Oregon State's still putting up 10-plus runs a game. And
do we have an update on those? I mean, I know Caraway's out.
Mm-hmm. No, haven't heard anything on Casper. He took a pitch off his finger. Yeah. He'll be out around a month, give or take a week or two. Yeah. Or guys, give a week or two. So anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. It's a tough loss, but thankfully Oregon State's had guys step up. I mean, Jabin Trotsky's slid into the lineup, and he's batting 480 now.
It's nuts. I mean, I've never seen a lineup this big.
It's crazy. I mean, if you look at their typical lineup, there's 7 hitters, Trotsky, and he's hitting 480. Yeah,
that's not.
It's unreal.
And we're at 30 or 39 home runs.
Travis Hazan has been playing out of his mind.
Bananas. He's bananas.
He's bananas right now. His last 3 games, he's 11 for 15, 3 doubles, 4 homers, and I believe 12 RBI. That's just insane.
Guerra, did he have how many? He had 3 homers yesterday. Home runs.
The first time that's happened in 3 years. He has 6 homers now on the year. Hainline has 4. Tanner Smith has 3. McDowell has 3.
It's crazy.
Craig has 4. I mean, and guys that we weren't really expecting to necessarily play as well as they're batting very well. I mean, Dallas Macias is 300 plus. Jacob Craig's 300 plus, and he's probably the 3rd best power hitter, 4th best power hitter on this Oregon State roster. And it's the depth on this team offensively is just crazy to me. I mean, they have 10 guys batting over 300, multiple players with over 10 runs batted in, and they're only 20 games in. And not to even mention Travis Hazana, who's having as good a season as anyone in Oregon State history.
Talk to me about pitching, though. If there's a question, it's pitching. Talk to me about pitching.
Well, starting pitching, it's a concern right now. Lost Aiden May against Arkansas. He's expected to be back in the next week or two. We should find out if he's pitching on Friday tomorrow. Saw someone in the lodge say he's anticipated to throw 2 to 3 on Friday against Washington, and that'd be huge to get him back because he's the most talented pitcher in the Oregon State program. Jacob Kamatz, he's been solid, very good actually, the best we've seen him. He's 2-0 with a sub-2 ERA. Eric's Higuera has been up and down, had a rough game on Sunday, but besides that has been very good. But beyond that, guys have struggled. I mean, Nelson Keljo's seen time, Jaron Hunter's seen time, Ian Lawson's seen time. All three of those guys have started, and none of them have really stood out. They've both given up runs, and that's concerning because you're going to need more than 3 starting pitchers to make a deep run. And that's where I think Oregon State losing Aiden Jimenez before the season really hurts.
Yeah.
Because he was a guy who was anticipated to be either a lockdown multi-inning guy out of the bullpen or even a starter as a Saturday or Sunday type guy. And that loss hurts. The bullpen, up and down. Bridger Holmes has been fantastic. 10 innings, 16 strikeouts, still hasn't allowed a run. I think he's allowed 3 hits, which in 10 innings of work is incredible. Tevin Montgomery's been solid as well. Looks like we just lost Angie, so I'll carry on with the bullpen talk. Outside of that, there's been some ups and downs, from experienced guys too. Ian Lawson struggled, as we've talked about. Chase Reynolds has struggled. The walks have been a big issue, and that needs to get trimmed down because once it gets to regional and super regional time, once you start playing some Arkansas, some Texas Techs, you can't afford to give any free bags, and that's where I think this pitching staff really needs to improve. And then defensively, I think this team's going through some growing pains, but they are steadily improving. The first couple of weeks we saw Hainline, Caraway, Guerra, all three of those guys make a few mistakes, and in recent weeks they've really started to clean it up, playing a lot clearer defensively. And then the catchers, Tanner Smith has been fantastic throwing down guys. I think he's allowed 4 steals out of the 14 attempts, and then Wilson Weber has as strong an arm as anyone in the entire country. So through 20 games, overall takeaways, really impressed. Glad to see this team is living up to expectations so far, and I think they can only get better. So excited to see that.
I'm here audio wise.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yes, I just had my kid. I was like, text my son to come grab the charger, and he did. And right when I was bending down.
Oh, I think we lost you. Not hearing Angie. So anyways, let's pivot into our next topic, which was in very early Oregon State
Oh, there you are.
MVP. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Yeah. So who is your MVP for the year so far?
I mean, Travis
You got to go.
Pizzana, hands down. I mean, this kid has one of the best stat lines in the country. I think he's proven himself to be more than deserving of the hype around him being a potential number 1 overall draft pick. The power has improved. I mean, he's played 20 games and has 10 home runs. He's on pace to shatter Jim Wilson's all-time record. And with the way he's playing right now, you can expect the Oregon State all-time career doubles, triples, home runs, walks, stolen bases, and runs record to be broken, as well as single-season home runs, batting average, and slugging percentage, which is just
crazy.
Incredible.
What is Oregon State's season or home runs
right now?
Yeah. Do you know?
They're at 39.
No. Do you know what their record is? Sorry.
Oh, it was last year.
Oh, okay.
I want to say 88 last year.
Okay. So I
That
did
was the
look up
program
during the
record.
game because Jack, my son, was
Mhm.
asking me what or the NC2A record was. It looked like 177 for a season, and that was LSU back in 97 when they won the national championship.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening
No.
this year.
No.
I do think because they only need to get like 1.75 over the rest of
Yeah.
the way.
So
And
right
that's
now
not
they're averaging 1.95 home runs a game.
39 over 20.
If they keep that pace, so there's only 35 regular season games left. This isn't even counting the postseason, but 35
Yeah.
regular season games. They're on pace now, if they continue at that 1.95, to hit 107.
And they're guaranteed at least 2 games in the Pac-12 tournament.
Yes.
That's not taking into account the potential 5 from regional, potential 3 for super regional. I think they hit that mark pretty handily, which I mean, before the season saying they'd hit 100, it was kind of I think they got a shot, but now
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident.
So in any area, I mean, is pitching kind of your only main concern right now?
Yeah, I mean, that and health. I mean, we
Yeah.
should get Aiden May back soon. Kyle Scott, hopefully back soon. Same with Leif Palmer as well. And then offensively, Casper and Caraway. No update on Casper, but we will not see Trent Caraway for the next month or so.
Yeah, it was a
Need
middle
those guys to
finger.
rest up and get that's a tough place, especially if, I don't know if it was on his throwing hand. But if it was on his throwing hand, that
Either way, though,
Like-
you think about it. I mean, throwing hand would be
Yeah.
the worst, but at that other, if it's not his throwing hand, it's going to be in his lead hand, which is his bat or his glove hand. So,
yeah.
I broke a pinky finger my freshman year playing softball, and it was just a little hairline fracture, so it wasn't
Yeah.
anything big. But yeah, it was on my glove hand, and it still made things difficult.
Yeah. So hopefully those guys can really get back soon, because if Oregon State wants to compete for national championship, they're going to need Trent Caraway and Brady Casper.
That is. Oh wait, I think maybe I can get my camera. Oh, there I am.
There we go.
Woo! Okay, thanks for carrying that. Anything else about baseball that we need to know about before this weekend?
Just keep an eye on Bridger Holmes. All that guy has done out of the bullpen is put guys down. I mean, he's been fantastic, and I think Oregon State's found their closer.
Nice.
And he may be as good a closer as Oregon State's had. I mean,
Okay. And then,
I
another
love his
plug
game.
for Beaver Blitz. If you're thinking now is not the time to join because it's not football season, definitely want to be a part. JP's Weekly Walk-Off, if you've never experienced a JP's Weekly Walk-Off,
the best in the game.
it is the best in the game. I mean, it will get you so ready. Even if you don't follow baseball super close, you read Friday's Weekly Walk-Off and you're ready to go.
It gets you ready to go for the series.
Jake, and he answers questions about the entire Pac-12. It's so worth the price of admission. And then Jake also has headquarters. He starts the game threads. And then, like I said, football recruiting is going to be picking up some steam here with some official visits. I expect some commitments to start popping here in the next, 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Oh, weeks.
Well, weeks for a couple guys. And then, but yeah, you're going to start seeing some official visits take place. So it's going to be some exciting times. So join us over on Beaver Blitz if you're not there. But Jake, we will do this again. I know you want to get on the road to start your spring break. And now I got my computer charging again. Thank goodness my kiddo was home to get me that. And we'll be back. I don't know when. We'll be back in April, early April at some point. Probably the second week of April is my guess. So we can talk a little more spring camp and then also have another baseball update. Until then, he's Jake Hedberg. I'm Angie Machado. Join us next time for another episode of the Damn Podcast.